Melanie looks like she's going to a premiere. I look like I'm just going to the shops.
The commodification of dating. It's because I wasn't in love with him anymore.
I got this in Tesco. A screenwriting course that I'm desperate to do.
My appetite has returned.
That woman has my dream job.
A massive health food shop haul. Drop the shoulders. Are you wearing your shoulders as earrings? Drop them down. Unclench your jaw.
If you have herbal tea in your cupboard and you never make it, you never drink it, maybe make a little herbal tea now so you can have a healthy little drink and sit down with me for the next while. By the time you're watching this, my almost 5-year-old son, who's been here since he was born, he will have started big school. I will have done the first drive to drop my daughter off at preschool for her first ever day of preschool, and him off at primary school with his little school bag and his little school shoes. I don't know how else to describe how I feel other than to say that, do you know that song Slipping Through My Fingers by ABBA? That's become the soundtrack to my life. I just keep finding myself ugly crying listening to that song. And looking around, like even now, I'm just looking in the hall and all the little toys just carelessly thrown on the floor. And how dare you tell me that this isn't forever? It's like as soon as you get used to having kids and it stops being hard, they start growing up. And, you know, right now, yes, they still want to hold my hand when we're crossing the road and stuff, but oh, it's going too fast. If you have kids starting school, I know a lot of you do, but like, do you also feel that kind of mixture of like pride and excitement and joy and nostalgia, but like there's also guilt. Like I do have a guilty little thrill when I think about getting a few hours a day to myself. What? I want to make use of those hours. I maybe want to study something new or work more, write another book. Big changes happening that I'm trying to process. And also this month I turned 36. I don't feel 36. I feel healthier than I was when I was 15. All I wanted for my birthday was to spend it with my family somewhere far away. So we drove to the west coast of Ireland and I spent my 36th birthday in a holiday home, basically on the beach. My aunt owns a holiday home and she lets all of us take turns staying there. It was dreamy. And the one thing I didn't want for my birthday that I thankfully didn't get was a pregnancy, another baby. And that is thanks to Natural Cycles. They are sponsoring this video. It is my chosen method of contraception. It's hormone-free. If you've been sleeping under a rock and you've never heard of Natural Cycles, it uses your basal body temperature and data it collects from your unique cycle to predict your fertile and non-fertile days with up to 98% effectiveness when it's used perfectly. It has 93% effectiveness with typical use. Yeah, combining that with other non-hormonal methods of contraception like pull-out and condoms, I have been able to avoid being on the pill or the coil or the patch or the implant or any of those other things, and no baby. And both times I got pregnant on my first attempt. Also thanks to Natural Cycles, because it can be used to plan pregnancy. It can be used to track your pregnancy. It is so amazing. So I've linked that down below and I will talk more about it later because I really want to, in this video, go into cycle syncing, which is something I only learned about in recent months and it has changed my life. I found out about it through a reel on Instagram. Something about it just made sense as soon as I heard about it, like working out a certain way at certain times of my cycle instead of trying to work out the same all month long. You know, it just makes sense. Yeah, I'll talk about that later because Natural Cycles also has helped me to learn so much about, you know, what stage I'm in and what I might be feeling during which stage. But to begin this vlog for August, I wanted to share lots of footage I got when I was on my little holiday for my birthday, along with 36 things that I've learned in 36 years, alongside a very beautiful song that just always reminds me of my daughter. I don't know why, it just does.
Oh, the summertime is coming, and the trees are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme grows around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? I will build my love a bower near yon pure crystal fountain, and on it I will build all the flowers of the mountain. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? If my true love, she were gone, I would surely find another, where wild mountain thyme grows around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go?
I'm sorry, but how cute is this little swimsuit? I got this in Tesco. It was on reduced and I just love it. It's really classy and flattering. It has this little skirty mabobby. But yeah, good morning from the coast of County Kerry, which is the opposite side of Ireland to where we live. Have not shaved my underarms. This is our last day, so I'm just getting ready to go in for my last dip. But yeah, as I said, birthday trip and digital detox. Now, it was intended to be a full digital detox. Didn't make it. What it became was a non-social media scrolling detox. So, and that was enough because I couldn't deal without Google Maps. I couldn't deal without checking my Natural Cycles app. I'm putting on my Factor 50. This is the Cicaplast Balm. La Roche-Posay is my favourite moisturiser, but they have a version that has Factor 50 in it, so you don't have to double up, which is handy for packing. Yeah, what else? I was just really interested to be checking my scores on my Oura Ring because this tracks my stress and my sleep, and I was just too curious to not check the app to see how different it was here being on holiday. And yeah, my sleep scores through the roof, like in the 90s. My stress was as low as it ever is. The other things, WhatsApp messages, like it was my birthday and I was getting a lot of messages and I wanted to be able to send pictures. I wanted to be able to take pictures. Like, so I was gonna get here and like lock this away, but then and just like use my camera to take photos on. But I know myself, and if I fill up my camera with pictures, they'll never see the light of day. They'll forget about them. It's so much easier having them on the phone because then you can just easily send them to like family and stuff. But yeah, not scrolling for 4 days, I genuinely feel has reset my brain. Like at one point I accidentally like on autopilot, just clicked the Instagram app and it opened up. And the second it just opened up, I just went, oh no, like a visceral reaction. It has been so beautiful to spend so much time just thinking about nothing, like not trying to learn something. Like I feel like my Reels algorithm is very like, did you know? Like it's very educational, and it's just sometimes just an information overwhelm. And this has been absolutely beautiful. I'm doing my Porcelain Dewy Finish Foundation medium coverage. It's the Second Skin by Sculpted by Amy. Love this stuff. Just a tiny bit of this, tiny bit of blush, tiny bit of floofy brows. But the reason I wanted to put this on and talk to you before we go home in the car is I almost didn't come. I had the mother of all stomach bugs for a week leading up to coming here, and even on the day that we were having to pack up, I was still really ropey. It was unbelievable. This is obviously doing the rounds because I've heard of a few people that I know coming down with it, so just keep your wits about you. It was really brutal. Like for days I was just out for the count. I couldn't get up, I couldn't eat. The worst part about it was the no appetite. I had I don't remember ever experiencing that before, because in the past, if I get like gastroenteritis or whatever it's called, gastro, like a stomach bug where you're like puking and it's coming out the other way, anytime I've had anything like that before, it's like a 24-hour, 48-hour thing, and you know, then you're grand. This was not like that. It was like I wasn't vomiting. I was constantly nauseous. I couldn't even keep down. Like I'd chew, you know the way they tell you when you have a stomach bug to follow the brat diet? It's like bananas, rice, applesauce, toast, like very plain, bland, easy to digest things. Like 2 bites in, my body would just be rejecting it. I never want to see plain boiled white rice again. My birthday cake was a picture of a birthday cake because I just couldn't stomach anything. And I had the most insane sensations in my stomach, and it's like I could feel my entire microbiome. Like I couldn't even brush my finger across my abdomen. Fatigued, really anxious. It was so bad. So like the month began like that, and Thomas, God love him, like he was just like, look, you will feel better or you will get better quicker if we just go. And he was just like, I really think we should still go and like not cancel the holiday, because I just wasn't improving. And I was just like, what if you get this while we're down there and then I'm still recovering, and then, or like the kids get it and then I'm trying to like look after like there was a couple of days where he was away on a long haul flight when I was like this, and I was literally just lying down outside out the back garden, so symptomatic. And just like there's nothing harder than trying to look after children when you're like really ill, not just like a bit of a cough, you know. I was absolutely wiped of all energy. And yeah, I think I got it from my dad. He had a stomach dose, and I remember right before it came on, he had been in our house, and I do remember him using my phone. And I'm not good for that. I'm not good for remembering to use like antibacterial spray and wipes on my phone. But a phone is like dirtier than a toilet seat. Like it carries so many bugs and germs every time you pick up your phone. They're just really dirty. So now I'm going to be like, from now on, like a clean, because I think that's how I got it. I'm pretty sure, because that day that I saw him before he came down with symptoms, I didn't like really see, I didn't get that up close and personal with him. The kids haven't gotten it. Thomas hasn't gotten it, thank God. Yeah, I was not able to sleep with it or anything. So if you've had it as well, I feel for you. On the day of my birthday, I actually forgot it was my birthday until the afternoon when Thomas like took out my present, and he gave me a beautiful present, which I wasn't expecting, but like it was just, I was like, oh yeah, because I was still, it was the first day I was kind of really feeling better. And yeah, this has made me realize I need more holidays. We went away once last year for a few days with Thomas's parents and the kids, and like our youngest, who's now between 2.5 and 3, she was still much younger, so like she's much easier now. And like being on this trip was so much easier than last year. So yeah, we're kind of hoping we can go on like a holiday abroad maybe in October, because I think Thomas has a bit of time off then. His job is weird, like he has to book his holidays real far in advance. Any of you who don't know, he's a pilot, and yeah, it's like the annual leave is kind of booked quite far ahead in advance. He has some time off, and yeah, I'd love to go to a resort. I've never been to a resort in my life. All the different places I've been to and all the like flying and traveling I did before kids, like I was very like anti-resort, and now I get it. Now I get it. Now I have kids. You need to go somewhere child friendly. The last place we went was so not child friendly at all, like the one last year, whereas this place has been so perfect for the age of our kids because we're right on the beach. There's sand dunes. Like when I was a little kid, I used to come here with my dad and my cousins, and honestly some of my best memories were made here in County Kerry with the cows all over the place. When I was little, I remember we stayed right here and we were woken up by a cow scratching its arse on the side of the caravan, and it's just so lovely. And you know what? It's making me kind of like have these fantasies of selling our house and buying a mobile home like this, and then just having like hundreds of thousands in cash and just doing whatever we want like that. We literally could do that if we wanted to. I would so live in one of these. It's kind of made me miss living in a smaller house, because I grew up in small houses, and our house right now, like, it is quite big, and obviously that's great, but the bigger it is, the more spread out you can be in different rooms, and there's just so much more to clean, there's so much more clutter, so much more to worry about. Whereas like in here, like we've all been just crammed in on top of each other for days, and it's just been lovely. Like it's just been all loads of chats and playing games that we wouldn't normally play, and like listening to like the Beach Boys and, you know, that song, "We're all going on a summer holiday." I think the kids have made some amazing memories already from this trip, and it just makes me really happy. So that's me. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna have my last wee dip, and if I can catch the beach yoga again, because the beach yoga, I probably included that in the montage, but that hour of yoga on the beach with loads of other people, with a woman who clearly knew her shit when it came to regulating your nervous system, because I'm so interested in that, but she was making us do all these things that I've learned and I understand why they help, but like she was talking us through visualizations and making us like tap our bodies and like our faces, and there was stretching, there was more exercisey yoga, Pilates style things, loads of breath work. It was unbelievable. I cried during it, and I think it's because I realized that that woman has my dream job. I would love to be working with people, especially doing something like that, like something helping people's health, mental health. And part of me wants to do that now, like train to be a yoga instructor and have like classes on the beach near us during the warmer months, and then maybe I could get to a point where I have like a little studio or something. Like I feel like a big calling to do that. And I think it's because, you know, I've been doing YouTube and stuff for 12 years, and while it has been so amazing, the kind of community aspect of YouTube is long gone. Like people don't do collabs, and like there's way less meet and greet type situations because of like certain YouTubers getting shot at their, like there's been lots of safety concerns around that, and there's less convention-y type things for content creators like me. I think TikTokers go to a lot of stuff, but the movie premieres and all, they're always really fun, but I really miss and I need and I crave to be around people a lot more. And right now, like I'm around my family a fair bit, and I see other mothers with their kids like once a week or so for a play date, and you don't really get to connect very much during a play date because people keep getting interrupted by their children. But yeah, I don't know, it just felt kind of like a sign from the universe kind of pointing me in the direction that I should go in. And it wouldn't mean I'd have to stop doing this. If anything, I could
share the process of the training and all, because soon, like at the end of this month, both of the kids are going to be in school. I know my youngest is only going to be in preschool, which is only 3 hours a day, but that still frees up hours a day for me that I've never had that much free time in years. Like obviously before I did, but in 5 years I've not had like hours a day, 5 days a week to myself. Obviously there's a lot of emotions about that, but I'm trying to focus on the positives, that like I'm getting a bit of me back. Bit of me. I need to go swim. I shall see us back in our house. Today we're testing out a very healthy muffin recipe for the kids' lunch boxes, and I'm hoping that they will like these. Obviously they're starting school very, very soon, and there is a strict healthy eating policy at my son's primary school, and preschools usually want you to give them healthy bits and pieces. But the big issue is that a child in my son's primary school has a nut allergy, and one of the main ways I get protein into him is nut butters, like almond butter, peanut butter. Now he will eat eggs if they are in a recipe. He won't eat them on their own, but if they're in pancakes or muffins or something like that, can get eggs into them, and they're so healthy. So there's that. There's the red lentil pasta, but that's one of his favourite dinners, so I don't really want to be giving him that in his lunchbox. Never mind this disaster, but I've already today tried homemade oat bars, and these have gone down really, really well. They're oats, raisins, raspberries, apple juice and coconut oil, and I'll put the recipe here on the side of the screen because I know that these did turn out nice. They're nicer with a bit of nut butter on top. But yeah, I found this recipe online and they're baby-led weaning approved as well. Yeah, I'm basing this on a different muffin recipe that I really like for myself, but in here I've mixed ready break, which is oat flour, and flaxseed, which is extremely healthy for kids. In here I've put maple syrup, olive oil, bit of coconut oil. I have 1.5 cups of mashed sweet potato. I just peeled and boiled the sweet potato. I have a cup of blueberries. My son's a bit iffy with blueberries, but I'm gonna try these muffins with blueberries. If that fails, I can do banana. He loves banana. Maybe a bit of dark chocolate, but I don't know if that's allowed with the healthy eating policy. Dark chocolate is healthy, but I'm putting cinnamon and baking powder and vanilla extract, and I'm hoping these will be super tasty and they'd be able to, yeah, fit in like one each. The recipe makes 12 muffins, so I have a greased muffin tin here, and if they go down well, I may end up just batch making them, so like doubling up this recipe, the one I shared a minute ago, and I'll write it in the description box as well if you want to bake these as well and give them a try. I'll taste test them on camera as well. But yeah, I have the oven heating up and my appetite has returned with a vengeance, and I'm so delighted about it. I've spent the last while munching on some dark chocolate. This is Anya's handmade chocolate, 70% dark, intense raspberry. It's so yummy and I can't stop. Well, I can't. It's not as moreish as milk chocolate, you know. Might have some nuts as well, walnuts. Yeah, as I mentioned in the intro of the video, I do want to talk to you about cycle syncing, because this is kind of related to nutrition as well as all the good lifestyle stuff. And I've been using this video's sponsor, Natural Cycles, for 10 years. One of the things that does is it tracks your cycle. If you're still not tracking your cycle, what are you doing? I had no idea how much of a tool that could be in helping me to work with my body instead of constantly fighting against it. Fighting against myself, expecting more of myself at certain times of the month when there is no more to give. Anyway, I have had my period back since last December. So for the guts of a year, the on-demand breastfeeding meant that my period didn't return for a very long time. And anyway, when my period came back, I was able to start using Natural Cycles in prevent pregnancy mode again. This is a zero side effects, non-invasive contraception method. And I was using this with my husband Thomas before we started trying for kids. Then I was using the plan pregnancy mode. And yeah, I'm back on the contraception buzz. Really don't want another baby right now. This works for me. It fits my lifestyle. It fits my wants. And things that I don't want. Like I don't want to take synthetic hormones. I'm going to start mixing things because I think the oven is hot now. But over the years, so many of you have reached out to me after trying Natural Cycles, telling me how much it has changed your lives, and I just adore it and I want more people to know about it. It's very empowering as a woman to know and understand your options. Natural Cycles is CE marked in Europe. It is FDA cleared, very important. It works with loads of different measuring devices now. So like when I started, it was only able to be used with a thermometer, and you do get a thermometer when you sign up for a year's subscription, and there is a 15% off discount down in my description box if you would like to try out Natural Cycles. But now it works with various wearables, so I have the Oura ring that takes my temperature during the night, so I don't even have to think, they automatically sync together. Whereas with the ADHD, I used to have to leave the thermometer on my phone because I'd always reach for my phone first thing in the morning. And I don't do that as often now because I have kids and stuff like that. Kind of the second I wake up, I'm like busy from get-go. So this is brilliant, having that option to with the wearables. Brief rundown of how it works, and you can read into this yourself. But the app's algorithm analyzes hormone-driven temperature trends, and it uses those changes over time to confirm your daily fertility status. So you have a short window each month where you're fertile, where you can get pregnant. When I first started using Natural Cycles, I did have irregular periods. My periods now are extremely regular. Actually, let me show you. Well, firstly, it's so fascinating. So it gives you these little cycle reports. So you can see here cycle length, period length. You can track how often you have vaginal sex. Obviously, I don't track other forms of sex, but vaginal sex is important to track with this. It says how long my follicular phase was, my luteal phase. I had an average of 66% green days. Using prevent pregnancy mode, on a green day, you can have sex au natural and not be worried about it. And on a red day, you should use an alternative method of contraception like a condom. Even though it's very regular, there are buffer days. So there's extra red days just to make sure in case you have a month where things change around a little bit. And when you start out, you have way more red days. This is August here. So if I scroll right back to January, you can see there it's basically almost a 50-50 split of red days. So as time went on, here's July, I've got a lot more days where I don't have to worry so much about sex. Like we can do it however we want and not have to think about other methods of contraception. You can track symptoms. So I'm in my luteal phase now, and there's so much helpful stuff, like it tells you when is the best time to do breast exams. There's loads of stuff like this. You get all kinds of reports. So as you can see, my cycle are almost always within the typical range. They're very predictable. My periods are always 4 or 5 days long. I could not recommend Natural Cycles more, even if you're not having sex, just to understand your body. I can just plan my life around my period, around where my body's going to be at. So using this app for cycle syncing, this has been my experience, my journey over the past couple of months, doing this, trying this out. Cycle syncing sounds like a fancy term, but all it means is being aware of the different phases of your cycle and adjusting your lifestyle accordingly. Your diet, your exercise, your sleep habits, all of that good stuff to support your mental and physical health during each phase. I'm very average when it comes to menstrual cycles. I'd love to know what yours are like in the comments down below. Like, are they all over the place? Have they changed? Did they change after kids? Because like mine settled completely. And I don't know if it was just having kids. I said this before in one of these vlogs. I do think a big part of it was lifestyle changes. I eat so healthy now and I'm getting my sleep, not just because the kids are older, but also because I just go to bed earlier than I ever thought I needed to get the amount of sleep I need. And I prioritize moving my body. And now this cycle syncing stuff is helping even further. But yeah, the average cycle, which like I'm very average, is about 28 days, but that can range between like 21 days and 35 days. But yeah, 28 is like an average cycle, and it's divided into 4 phases. Some of you will know about this, but like, you know, I don't remember being taught this in school. We all know about the menstrual phase when we're bleeding from our vaginas. That lasts from the first day of your period until you stop bleeding, basically. On average, that's about 5 days. Some people it's 3. Some poor people have like week-long periods. If you're watching, I wish I could give you a big kiss. That sounds horrendous. For like my whole life, I would have my period and I'd be like, yeah, well, tough titty. I'm just gonna have to power on through and do everything the same. Sometimes I'd feel a bit sorry for myself and curl up with the types of foods that make everything worse. I used to make PMS party videos on here, you might remember that, and I'd always have show like what I was eating, like what my craving was, and like I'd go for foods that increased inflammation when I was having a lot of pain from inflammation. With cycle syncing, you know, when you're on your period, you're giving yourself permission to scale back. Say no more, commit to less things, make everything more slow and gentle, you know, bit of walking, bit of stretching, maybe a bit of light yoga, but nothing crazy, eating more iron rich foods because you're losing blood. So, you know, maybe if, like, I rarely eat red meat, but if I'm going to eat red meat, I'll eat it during my period. Cereals enriched with iron, seafood, leafy green vegetables, you know, and yeah, like really realizing that your body needs you to be giving it certain things because like it's doing a lot. And yeah, anti-inflammatory foods like omega-3s. So flaxseed, amazing if you don't eat salmon. Fish, walnuts, which I just ate a minute ago. Having omega-3 fatty acids helps with cramping, and I get hardly any cramps nowadays. There's such a stereotype of women on their periods, but I feel very clear-headed on my period now, and I think it's because, like, yeah, I'm being forced to slow down and take a bit of a pause, and I'll sit outside more and do deep breathing and a bit more like meditation on ramping up the self-care, but not the kind of self-care that's like, oh, I'm gonna get a face mask and a massive bar of chocolate, because that's not doing it. And like, it might make you feel momentarily less stressed or whatever, but the real self-care stuff, the stuff that actually affects your body and your brain. Okay, to make these muffins slightly more appealing, I'm going to put on a few chocolate sprinkles on the top, just because, you know, they do have that like uber healthy look about them, and kids can't resist some sprinkles. And I feel like putting a few sprinkles on something, all that's in these is sugar, cocoa powder, coconut oil, glucose syrup, anti-caking agent. They're not that bad, and if a few sprinkles will make the kids eat these, I'm all for that. So these are going in at 180 for about 20 to 23 minutes. I forgot to take, oh no, I forgot to take yesterday's yoga. Obviously with periods and sleep, you want to be sleeping more if you can. If I'm gonna nap, it'll be around that time of the month. Right, your period's done. You're into your follicular phase. A lot of women as well even notice that their face looks different during the follicular phase and the luteal phase. So before ovulation and after ovulation. And I have noticed this myself. Like, I've taken photographs of myself in the same lighting, in the same room, in the same angle, and my face looks completely different in one half of my cycle than the other. It's so mental. But your follicular phase actually overlaps with your period. So you're technically in your follicular phase as well during the start of your period. It ends when you ovulate. So it's usually a couple of weeks, sometimes 10 days, 14 days. During this phase, your hormones are changing, your energy is higher. This stage of my cycle is when I will do my really hard, intense workouts now. Like, I use an app called Trainwell with a personal trainer, and like, she gives me certain workouts, and I will do like the hardest ones during this stage of my cycle. I can really push myself usually. I've found this to be so true. Like, I can just give way more power to my workouts. I feel way more creative. I've noticed, like, I get ideas for stories or like reels I want to make or like housey things I want to do. I get way more creative during this stage of my cycle. So I'll lean into that. I will schedule more social occasions. I'm like socializing comes easier to me. So if you've ever felt like you don't know whether you're an introvert or an extrovert or whatever, because it's like sometimes it can be as simple as the stage you're at in your cycle. It's mad. I love being around people during my follicular phase. I am flirtier, I am hornier, I make sure to eat certain foods that are supposed to help with balancing estrogen, like, you know, broccoli and cauliflower. And yeah, like I always eat healthy, but I'll definitely be eating more protein during this stage because I am doing those harder workouts. And then you get to kind of the middle of the cycle where you are ovulating. This phase only lasts like 1 to 2 days, but it is usually when I feel my best. I feel amazing when I'm ovulating. I'm so chatty and so motivated with work stuff. And I don't know how ADHD ties into this, but I just feel this surge of productivity. And yeah, so I'll kind of batch admin stuff. If you work for yourself, this is an amazing time to kind of just like shove in all of the stuff. Like I'll always try and do a lot of filming around ovulation. My libido is sky high that time of the month. Thomas can even smell it off me. He starts sniffing my face, sniffing my hair, sniffing behind my ears. Like he can tell, even if I've not told him. Like he doesn't keep track of my cycle. I do, but he can smell it off me. And because he wants another baby, he's always like, yeah, it's really important for me to have natural cycles because of that very biological thing that happens between Thomas and I, where we just get rampant at that time of the month. And if I didn't have natural cycles, we probably wouldn't be as safe and careful. And we did have a close call at one point because I hadn't checked it that day. I hadn't checked and I thought I had already ovulated and I actually hadn't. And so, yeah, we had to actually take a brief pause and check. And then, you know, we were able to make smarter choices to support where we're at in our life. So yeah, ovulation, it's a great time to have difficult conversations. It's a very good time to, if you're trying to conceive, think about that, like the certain vitamins, like B vitamins, the kinds of things that can prevent certain issues in pregnancy, focusing on that kind of stuff in your diet. After ovulation, you get into the luteal phase, which is where I have just entered. And when I used to really struggle with PMS, like this entire half of the month for me used to be hell. And for a lot of women it is. Your energy dips, you're crankier, moody, spotty, low patience, intense cravings for sugary. Like thankfully the luteal phase doesn't affect me nearly as much as it used to. I do find I have a shorter fuse a little bit, and I definitely want more sweet things than normal, but because I know I'm in my luteal phase, I know what's causing the cravings. It's usually if my blood sugar kind of gets out of whack, so I'll make sure to be really on top of food in my luteal phase. So I'll be eating more often, like every 3 hours, sometimes every 2 hours. I'll be pairing healthy fats, carbs and protein almost every meal to make sure that I'm satiated and to keep my energy up. Also, bloating can happen a lot during this stage, so like increasing your fiber. For me, I sometimes get TMI, I sometimes get ovulation constipation, and I only know that because of tracking my cycle, because it's always almost around then, and that is a thing. So now I can kind of add in more fiber during that stage and then into the second half of my cycle. Sometimes I'll even go in with a spoon of lactulose just to make sure that like more water gets drawn into my bowels. Yeah, if you know the stage of your cycle and you know there's going to be maybe a bit of bloating, you can make sure you've bought in your nuts, your avocados, your fruit and veg. You can have the dark chocolate stores freshly stocked up, because dark chocolate is a health food. It is a medicine, and it really helps when you do get cravings for like a twirl, but having like dark chocolate, you're getting a lot of the health benefits and less sugar, so then there's less of like a big reaction within your body that's going to ultimately cause you to feel worse. So you can satisfy your cravings and have some antioxidants and minerals as well. In my luteal phase, I completely avoid ultra-processed food. I obviously don't drink, but if you do drink, alcohol is best avoided during the luteal phase. Maybe going easier on the caffeine, like more green tea than too many coffees type of thing. That can just help with the anxiety that can come at this time of the month, and like the tenderness in your boobs, and, you know, sleep changes that some people experience. Like, I tend to sleep a little bit less deeply during this part of my cycle. I know that because of Aura Ring. I can see I get less deep sleep at this stage of my cycle. I will be wearing my blue light blocking glasses. Let me show you them. These, I'll talk more about these in my next video. But yeah, in this stage of my cycle, I will make sure I'm wearing those, because yeah, the hormone shift can affect me falling asleep a bit. Really honing in on those relaxing things you can do before bed, like warm baths, reading in bed instead of going on your screens. Yeah, like I think there should be classes taught in school on this. It is a revelation to have this awareness of how different your needs are. Like men have no idea what we're dealing with. And we are living in a world that is built for men, around men and how they function and how they work. We have to honor how our bodies work. And yeah, natural cycles has been the anchor in this for me. So it's not just keeping me pregnancy free right now. It is helping me to have more compassion for myself. It's like I've been finally handed the user manual for my body. And I do just want to say, you know, cycle syncing. Like, what I don't want anyone to come away from this video with is the thought that this is just another box they have to tick. It shouldn't be stressful. It shouldn't be another standard that you feel like you're failing to meet. I am a self-employed parent, and like ultimately at the end of the day, my kids don't care if I'm in luteal phase or not. And there's certain things, obviously, that we do sometimes have to just manage. This is simply about awareness and self-compassion, knowing why your mood might be shifting, or you might be having certain cravings, or you might be low on energy. Like, just knowing takes away so much guilt. So yeah, I want to thank Natural Cycles again for working with me again. I've worked with them for a long time now. I have been a customer for almost a third of my life. I still pay for this. They don't give me this for free. I've been paying for it. I'm really passionate about it. And yeah, if you want to try it out, as I said, 15% off in the link down below. You will also get a free thermometer. But do remember, you can pair it with a wearable, like certain Apple Watches and Oura Ring. Let me check my muffins. Let me taste my muffins. Right, look, they're done. I've already eaten 2. I couldn't help myself. I love them. I don't think they're muffiny enough in texture for my son. My daughter will like them. I know she will. Sweetness wise, they're perfect. But I think I'll have to use like wholemeal wheat flour and a bit of, not baking powder, what's the other one? Do you know the other one? When you're baking, there's baking soda, but something to give them a bit more of a muffiny shape and texture, instead of the oat flour like the Ready Brek, which I used. And maybe using some banana or dark chocolate chips as well. I think I'm on to a winner. We may not have the winner yet, but I'm on to her.
Then the teachers would make sure that no kids brought
A tasty?
fish in for them.
Hello, we're going on a birthday date. Way later than my birthday, because my birthday was spent with children. We haven't had a day without the children in 5 million days.
Melanie looks like she's going to a premiere. I look like I'm just going to the shops with my wrinkly shirt.
So, okay. Admittedly, I do look like I'm going to premiere. I'm wearing this lovely new dress that I got from Coco C in Skerries. It's from French Connection, and it's Coco C is like a little local boutique, and I just wanted a tighter fitting dress in a block colour that is in my winter colour palette, because so many of my nicer clothes don't fit me anymore, like my nice fancy date dresses, but also I wanted to dress up for this movie we're going to, because I've been wanting to see this for way too long. It's called Materialists. If you've not heard of it, it's starring 3 very attractive people. It's a bisexual's dream. It's got Pedro Pascal, Dakota Johnson and Chris Evans, and it's supposed to be a romantic comedy, but I'm seeing very mixed reviews about it. Like I think a lot of people are saying it was marketed wrong and that it's more of a dramedy, you know, like it's not funny.
It's just silly.
Just silly. No one's going to get that reference.
When you said Pedro Pascal, I thought we were going to see Fantastic Four.
Yeah. In this movie, Pedro Pascal is playing some really wealthy, sexy man. And
he's playing Reed Richards.
And Chris Evans is playing a broke ex. It's basically like, who will she pick and why? I was kind of hoping it would be a romantic comedy, because I love, you know, My Best Friend's Wedding, When Harry Met Sally, that whole genre. Adore those kinds of films. And we haven't had a good romantic comedy in a very long time. I've been trying to avoid reviews because I want to give my own review after so Thomas and I will report back. I am wearing my Sex and the City shoes, which don't fit me anymore. My feet flattened when I was pregnant, and so I have my toes squished into these. But I just want to look nice, because everyone dresses nice in this movie, and I didn't want to be sitting in the cinema feeling like a big flop.
Like me.
How long have you had this shirt?
It was at the back of the press. I probably had it since, I don't know, maybe like 2014 or something.
It's 2025, baby. Dad, if you're watching, he's not watching, but thank you, Dad, for minding the children.
One day, for no reason in particular, you two will start to hate each other. You'll resent each other. You'll take each other for granted. You'll stop having sex.
Right, we're back. Thomas is having a bowl of decadent ice cream.
I'm actually having a cup.
A cup of decadent ice cream.
Yeah.
This is the brand he went for. I am going to put on some of this clay mask, hydrating clay mask from Environ. Very nice skincare brand. What was your feeling coming out of the cinema? I was happy coming out of the cinema. The ending.
I thought it was good.
The ending made me very happy.
Yeah.
Materialists has been out in some places for like 2 months, so this will contain spoilers, because I just feel like it's too hard to talk about a movie without having any spoilers. So if you're absolutely dying to see it and you still haven't seen it, maybe just skip forward, because there's going to be another movie chat after this about the film of the month. This is not the movie chat of the month. You're getting 2 for 1 this month. So yeah, the ending was real sweet. It involved a proposal that was very similar to how Thomas originally proposed to me when he had no money.
Yeah.
And
they stole my intellectual property.
I do agree with the criticism that this is not a romantic comedy, because I feel like most of the movie was very somber. Like, most of it was very,
I didn't really laugh at all.
I didn't laugh at all either.
There was a few bits that were like, oh yeah.
If you watch the trailer for Materialists, you feel like you're going to go into like this glossy Sex and the City style rom-com. But what you get is like quite a serious kind of, I don't know, anti-capitalist film about, it's about lots of things, mostly about the commodification of dating, how we value people and how money can shape love and marriages and relationships and all that. And the reason I was really excited to see this, you know, you kind of know what's going to happen from the trailers, really. Like, you know she's going to pick the brokey. We've seen this so many times in like Titanic and The Notebook, and like there's loads of movies where, but I love the poor guy, and so like, yeah, this guy is rich and all, but like I love him. And this kind of turned it on its head a bit, because you have the main character Lucy, who's a matchmaker, and then you have this really sexy billionaire, he's probably not a billionaire, millionaire, a very wealthy, sexy, nice, charismatic man who appears to be basically perfect.
And then you have the ex, so the Lucy's ex, played by Chris Evans. Pedro Pascal plays Mr. Sexy, and then like Mr. Man who doesn't really have any money and he just always seems really sad. But that's her ex, and she's very obviously still in love with him as soon as they meet. You can tell that they're still in love with each other. What I really struggle with this movie is it doesn't show you why she loves him.
Like, it is made apparent that when they went out the first time, they were very much in love, and
yeah, but we don't see why. Like, we don't see the love. You know what I mean? You don't see. That's what's really hard about this. Her picking him. I don't know if it's because he's just a real bland, boring character, and there's no.
But they're both bland.
But
they break up because they're always arguing about money, because he has no money, and at the time she had no money.
I have 2 experiences in this realm, right? I have the experience of being in a long-term relationship, same amount of time they were together at this point, like 5 years, and they're constantly arguing about money, and money has become this big tension in their relationship and this big cause of like friction. And I've been in that situation with an ex where money became a big issue between us, and not just the fact that he didn't have any money. It was more the fact that like there was no plan or goal for the future, and then also it was slowly eroding his sense of confidence, and it was having a knock-on effect in our relationship. Anyway, this was going on for a very long time, like 2-3 years, and it was getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And we broke up. That was a big driving factor of us breaking up, was just not even the fact that there was no money, because I had money. But there was so much tension about money that it was driving the relationship into the ground. When I got with this man, Thomas, you were a builder and you did have a plan for your future career, but you had no idea if it was going to work or if you would go to flight school and pass anything. Like, he was like, yeah, I'm going to go and learn how to be a pilot. And I was like, oh,
yeah, got myself
nice.
Massively in debt.
Still in debt. This is like 8 years later, and you're still paying back that loan. It was a huge loan. Yeah. Anyone who's considering getting into becoming a pilot, I think there's a perception of that, because it is a very well-paying job eventually, but people don't factor in how much you have to spend to get the job. There, yeah. So yeah,
but I think that the reason they break up is because like they're having an argument in the car, and it's basically like, I don't care that we have no money, I want to spend money because it's our anniversary. And your man's like, well, I don't want to spend money we don't have on things that are going to be gone.
I know, but this is why I don't think she really loved him, because you, like me and you, when we started going, like, Thomas is still like that. Like, he hates spending 10 quid.
The argument they were having, where he's like, oh, fucking 25 quid for parking, and I'm not paying 25 quid for parking. That's the way I would be.
Yeah.
But then I would end up paying it if there was no other option, whereas his solution was to just drive around forever.
The lead up to like me dating you, I had dated quite a few people who had quite a lot of money, and I think that made me realize that money is not, like, it just makes no difference. Like, people can be insane and have loads of money, people can be assholes and have loads of money. People having loads of money doesn't mean anything. Saying that, I knew that I was in my late 20s. I wanted a family, I wanted a secure future, blah 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 blah. And this film, what I really love about this film is it confronts very real, the reality of the current economy and of people's, like, you know, the reality of what you need in place to like comfortably be a parent who gets to spend their time with their children. And there's so many things kind of come up in modern dating that are just feel icky, and like, you know, and a lot of it, you know, is all about really superficial things like height and hairlines and your weight. There was actually a lot of talk about height in this movie. There was too much talk about how tall and short men are. And you were saying when you used to be dating, you felt like you must be short. Like, because...
I never got paranoid about it, but I was like, I'm not 6 foot. I'm like 5'10". And I remember the brief period when I was on Tinder, so many people were like 6 foot or don't text me or something. I was like, what's happening? And then I had to literally just be like, I am not going to get paranoid about this because this is going to send me down a bad road.
Let me just rinse off my mask. Hang on. But yeah, there's just like loads about all the boxes people want to tick and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, yeah. So me and Tom start going out, and I was very aware that, yeah, like my age, that like I wasn't going to go out with someone unless I was like, this might be someone that I might settle down with, because I knew I wanted to start having children in my early 30s. And yeah, it was just like, it's a hard time to when you're trying to like choose someone to actually be with as a life partner. And yeah, as she says in the movie, you know, you're looking for an old folks home buddy, or she says something along those lines, like you're thinking long term. And yeah, like Thomas is someone that I had found very attractive for a long time. Like we always were, like I'd be with someone when he would be single, and he would be with someone when I would be single. So we never like, it never lined up before that. But he was like my type physically. Like we had very similar sense of humor, lots of things in common, and basically similar visions for the future was like a big important one. And he wanted to live in Ireland, and there was just lots of things. But yeah, I was very much aware that you were 6 figures in debt, you know, when we were getting together. And I don't think I spent much time thinking about that because I loved you. Do you know what I mean? I was just in love with you.
That's the whole point here. Like, you don't get to see...
No, it's not. She left him because of him not having... I'm just kind of like, if you really loved someone...
No, they broke up because she had no money and he had no money. And she was very much like, I want nice things, and if I stay with you, I'm never going to have nice things.
The whole point of the film is like, oh, you need true love. Like, you need love. It's not just a transaction. Marriage isn't just a business deal.
Yeah, but that's
it's about love. But I'm like, how did you love this man if you fucking left him? Oh, because this is the thing with me and my ex. It's because I wasn't in love with him anymore. Was why we ultimately broke up. And when I was getting with you, even though you were in a very bad financial situation, I loved you, so I didn't care. So I just feel like I didn't buy it. Like, I didn't buy...
I thought it was very realistic.
Yeah, but...
Because
you don't watch a movie like that for realistic characters.
The point is basically, me and May, that if you can tick... If you have to pick your boxes that you want in the other person, and if the other person ticks enough of those boxes, then most likely it's going to just work out. And then the point is made that Pedro Pascal's character like ticks every box that anyone could want, and he's like a unicorn.
But she still doesn't love him.
And he has loads of money, so he ticks everything that she's looking for. But then she's still not happy because she isn't in love with him. And then it turns out that he doesn't even tick everybody's box because he's not.
He made
6
himself
foot.
taller
That's
with
one
an
of the big.
operation.
That's one of the boxes that they keep harping on about. It's like
height.
being over 6 foot. So
I've never had that.
But he's not over 6 foot. He's 5'6", and he had an operation to make himself 6 foot.
I'm 5'6".
But I think the point they're trying to make there is that even the people who are out there that you believe are 100% perfect and they're the one that you deserve, they're not even real, because
perfection doesn't exist.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I just like my love stories to be more cinematic rather than realistic. But yeah, the big critique of this film with like younger women is that it's broke man propaganda. And they're just like, you know, they just hate this thing where it's like, oh, so you're telling me that it's a good message that I should absorb, that marrying for love is wise, and like, fuck that, and I want someone with money, and like, this is literally a whole thing on the internet. And I don't know, is it that they were missing the point?
You know, the idea that you need to find someone who ticks
every single...
the boxes you want in terms of looks, personality, hobbies, interests, political status, job, income. Even if you find someone who ticks all those boxes and you marry them, doesn't mean that you're going to be happy. Whereas you could be very happy with someone who potentially doesn't tick any boxes, or most of them.
Yeah, it usually just walks into your life as well. Like
completely fucking broke, you know, and you'll just be broke, but you'll be happy. Whereas you could be rich and be very sad, and you want to be happy or sad.
I think the real message of the movie is just about how we commodify people in relationships, and that was the most interesting aspect of the film, was all of that date and stuff. I kind of would have enjoyed way more of that than, because there was so much build up with Pedro Pascal's character, and then he's just gone, and then there's just like, then it's like a slow tumble
Maybe
downhill.
that's just because there's nothing there. That's why he's just gone. Is because the whole relationship that they show with the two of them is literally just spending money,
Baby,
going to nice places, and writing.
I know, but I'm a writer, and I like I think it's the way, because it was directed so beautifully, like, because Celine Song is an amazing director. It was fucking gorgeous. It was so gorgeous, and the way the shots, like, all of that was perfect. It was the writing, and even just a couple more scenes. Yeah, there's this whole thing where she goes on a date with Pedro to her ex's play. He's like a failed actor, and she's watching his play, and after that they just go for drinks, and he can tell that there's something wrong with her, so he's just like, are you all right? And like, she's like, why? And he's like, you don't seem all right. And you know the way when you're like really tuned into someone, you can tell with the slightest tiniest shifts in their tone and stuff, if there's like where their mood is at. And that seemed quite significant in the sense that then when she's with Pedro, like, there's no scene showing him noticing that she's a bit off, if you get me. And he does say in the film that he really struggles with love. Like, he finds love very difficult, and like maybe really connecting with someone. And there was no moment of her having that realization of like, oh, like, yeah, he sees me. Like, there it just didn't make any, like, basically she has nowhere to stay, and she's like, oh, I guess I'll ring my ex and ask, can I go stay with him? And then it comes across to the viewer, to me, that she's just on the rebound, or she's just trying to, like, that she's just fucking around with him. I don't know. I was kind of just like, don't get back with her. Like, she's a bitch. I would have liked it to be a bit more emotional. I didn't cry or anything during it.
Yeah, you did. You cried at the end.
Oh, at the proposal. That's because I was thinking about when you proposed to me. It wasn't because
right.
Yeah, I did love the message of the movie that, like, you know, you don't need much to be happy. And
yeah,
and
because at the end he goes and he gets food out of a cart, and she's like, I don't want to be eating out of carts forever on our anniversary.
Yeah, but I know. But the problem is, I just didn't. I didn't feel it in my bones of like why she actually loved him, why she was picking him. They didn't bring me on the journey from A to Z. It was kind of just like they jumped from like E to Z.
I don't know. I think the movie forgets about Pedro because she forgets about Pedro, and I think that the only reason her and your man broke up is because they were constantly struggling and arguing about money, and that's the point that's made about the whole calendar thing. And he's like, I'm just going to mark it on a calendar to remind myself that I love you every day. Because when you're struggling and you're literally just constantly fighting to keep 10 different balls in the air, it's very easy to just forget to just treat the other person the way you want to treat them, because everything else gets in the way, because you're constantly struggling to make ends meet and to do this thing and to do that thing, and every day, every week, every month is completely chock-a-block with stupid shit that ultimately shouldn't matter, but it does matter, because it's what keeps a roof over your head, and it's what keeps food on the table and next way and that.
Can I just ask though, do you think that if I started going out with you and I was broke, that we would have broken up because we had no money?
I'd like to think we wouldn't. But it's like, that's what happens to people, because it's so hard to just fucking, you know.
Do I owe this
pay
marriage
for shit.
to my job?
No. She very much likes nice things and can't do without those nice things. And that ultimate. That's why she has the big speech in the street, and she's like, "You hate me," because she wants to go out for like a fucking $300 dinner when your man they can't even afford the parking outside the place. I think you would just be like, let's get a chipper and watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I suppose that, like, yeah, I'm not that materialistic, especially not now. I was more when we got together, but not so much that I minded, you know, staying, like, living with your parents to be with you, or living in a tiny little room in Spain with nothing. What I do wish was that he had expressed earlier that he had this plan to work more and earn a bit more money, and that, like, that had been a factor in her being like, oh, he's changed, because there is no evidence of anything of him having any growth. And, like, I just feel like it's quite toxic to get involved with an ex who, like, nothing's changed. So it's just like she hadn't changed and he hadn't changed, so it's just like, what?
They had changed.
No, they had not.
He makes allowances because he's like, do you know what, I'm gonna start working more as a waiter.
That's after they said I love you. No, that's after they said they were getting back together. I'm saying before they agreed to get back together, there was no evidence of either of them having changed. She was still really materialistic and judgmental and all that, and he was still broke. If when you and I started dating, you didn't have a job, say, I think that would have affected, like, if you just didn't have a job and you were kind of like, oh, I don't really know what I want to do. As much as I was, like, infatuated with you, I think at that stage of my life where I was at, like, my brain wouldn't have let me pursue anything if you were just, like, not working and had no plans of what you wanted to do. I think the fact that you had some kind of a vision of your future and had some kind of actionable steps and plan, like, that made a huge difference. And I feel really sad, like, thinking about that there's, like, loads of couples who could be or could have been, but, like, because someone was just so stuck in a rut, not, you know, like, just years going by where, like, with nothing changing, like, at the end of the day, it's like that phrase where, like, if you, like, you don't grab a falling knife because, like, you just end up, like, hurting yourself or something like that. I can't remember the actual phrase, but, like, if you are, like, super sexually attracted to someone and all this, that and the other, but, like, you can't imagine a future where you have a secure family system and everything like that. Like, so many women in coming up to 30 or coming up to 40 are going to be like, oh, like, I really, really like you. I really, really like you. But what the fuck? How am I going to manage to do any of the things, like, if having children is really important to you? Like, that just does come into it. So I'm glad, it's just nice seeing a film tackle that, like, the messy, gross parts of that. And I like that the film isn't judging people for having certain things. Like, the only one that I did feel like, you know, the man who only wanted a woman in her 20s. I feel like that was a real joke about, like, Leonardo DiCaprio types where they're like old, but they don't want to go out with anyone above, like, 24. The film was handling delicately the fact that people have things that they want, more so asking you to think about, like, why or should you care about that at all? Like, you know, someone's fucking hairline or whatever. When we got together, your hairline was saying goodbye, and you were very sad about it, and then you had a hair transplant, and I don't love you any differently. Because I didn't care about your hair.
Yeah, you didn't care about my hair, but I did.
I'm just home with my little kiddos. We were at this kind of lovely community day. It was called the Harvest Festival, and it had, like, tractors. It was very Irish. But I thought I'd just show you what I picked up. So I got 2 big bags full of stuff in Nature's Cures in Skerries. This is a shop that I adore. A massive health food shop haul. So, will we show them what we got? What's this one?
Show down to them.
I'm showing that one to them. What's in this?
Apples.
Not apples. Crisps. It's carrot, parsnip, beetroot, sunflower oil and salt, all organically grown. I love crisps. I just obviously avoid ultra processed food.
I want to. Mommy, can I have one of them? Can
Mm.
I have one of them?
Yeah. Yeah. Chew it up really good, okay? Root vegetables and I have a thing going on, a romantic love affair. They are fabulous. The brand is Trafo. I also got my favourites from them. They're bio-organic, 100% extra virgin olive oil potato chips. These are just nice salted crisps. It's just potatoes, extra virgin olive oil and sea salt. I got some organic virgin coconut oil. We use this in baking. I use this to take my makeup off, body moisturizer, oil pulling, which is like really good for dental hygiene. You can put this in coffee, all sorts of stuff. Now the main reason I went was I wanted to get 3 packets of 3 different flavors of protein powder. This is chocolate flavored protein. It's by Plant Force Raw Vegan Proteins. So this is pea protein, cocoa powder, brown rice protein, pumpkin seed protein, natural flavor and sweetener. Stevia is the sweetener. So these are really great protein powders. It's $25.95 a bag. So I got chocolate, I got strawberry, and I got vanilla. And I got these because
Mommy, that's my flavor.
yeah, it's kind of a handy way. Now I put a much smaller dose in for the kids, but you know, you can make lovely smoothies and stuff like that. Get a bit of extra protein into them. And for myself, obviously after exercising, in baking you can add protein powder. See you in a minute.
No, I'm not going.
I wanted to experiment around with a few different protein flavors, and yeah, I've only used the chocolate one. A couple of things I got because I was influenced by another influencer. She's the YouTuber actually the YouTuber who inspired me to start my channel in the first place, like donkeys years ago. She posts quite frequently at the moment. She's studying to be a nutritional scientist or a nutritionist or whatever. Her name is Anna Saccone. She's another Irish girl, and I remember just being like, she's Irish, she's doing it, that means I can do it. And she was making all beauty videos. Oh. Anyway, she always talks about her protein shakes, and she uses a different protein brand. She always seems to put in some collagen, so I got some pure marine collagen. It has added vitamin C. She seems to put creatine in, and my personal trainer said to me that I need to absolutely get on the creatine train, look at all the recent research around creatine. Apparently this is unbelievable for you, but people usually take it when they're exercising, helps increase muscle mass and improve your performance. The other thing that she always puts in her protein shakes is moringa, and I've never tried this before, but it says it's high protein and B complex vitamins. Moringa is a plant native to India. From its leaves, which are dried at controlled temperatures, we obtain multiple nutrients, high protein, fiber, vitamin C and iron, among others, which gives it unique nutritional characteristics, which in small quantities provide many benefits to your body. Yeah, I'm going to start basically copying exactly the same shakes that she makes. I find her very inspiring in terms of like her health journey. She also, like I was originally following her because she talked about eating disorders, and she also seemed health conscious, and that was a really hard place to be in when I had, you know, I was recovering from eating disorders, but I also was very health conscious, and it's like, it's such a mud to wade through, to navigate and to get to a place where you don't have disordered patterns, but you can make healthy choices. Like, it's a whole thing. But so I just find her very inspiring. 2 bars of dark chocolate. The brand is Vivani. This is 70% with cranberry and just 75%. I also got the pure grated cocoa, but I'm pretty sure this is like 100% cocoa. Like, it's legit, like the good stuff. But yeah, it says this is chocolate in its purest, healthiest form, single origin, sustainably sourced cocoa beans, and it has recipes on the back how to make cups of cocoa, which sometimes I just love to have in the evening times instead of a sleepy time tea. I love having a warm drink to look forward to after dinner, because I don't eat after dinner. I typically do a 12 to 14 hour fast, starting from like dinner time until the next morning. For intermittent fasting, that has been a huge health tool in my toolbox, and it's made a huge difference to my energy, my body, my brain, my mood, everything. So I get these sometimes just to give this little one. It's organic carrots and peas, naturally sweet and full of flavour, and I just tell them that this is kiddies veggies, like, because they're little teeny tiny carrots and teeny tiny peas. They're handy to like mash into a sauce or into spuds and stuff like that. I got vitamin D drops because going into the winter months, it's really important. Do you want to have your vitamin D? Sorry, not drops, it's a spray. It's a fuss-free way to maintain your child's vitamin D levels, and that is really important. In Ireland, we're quite low on vitamin D as a population. Shake well before use. It's one spray. When did you eat? I got some cleansing balm. This is the Skin Food Nourishing Cleansing Balm, organic sunflower seed oil. It turns really milky and it leaves your skin so moisturised. Yeah, you try and open that box for me. And the last thing I got, which I opened, I was snacking on this like a freak. I was just like picking it out with my fingers in the street. It's organic carrot and fennel raw sauerkraut. This is meant to be magical for your gut health, and it is. I really like it. It's very tangy. It's got live bacteria in it, but like the bugs that live in your digestive system love this, so it helps the good bugs thrive, which overall for your health is really important, because basically your gut is like a second brain, and it, like, most of your immune system is in your gut. Gut health is a big obsession of mine at the moment. So yeah, I'm gonna have fun playing around with all these things. I just wanted to show you some of the bits, because my food shopping, I showed a food shop in the January monthly vlog, and it just, yeah, that's for cleaning my face. It just doesn't change much. Like, I kind of just, I just buy mostly Whole Foods and mostly the same things all the time. Sometimes we go to a local farm and get sourdough bread and in-season veggies. And thank you, I'll bring you there in September and vlog some of that. Do you want to say bye to the camera? Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm lying on the moon.
I am at Molly's Cafe. It's a lovely little stream behind me, just down the road from where we live. Thomas has the children, and I'm looking into my options. I'm looking into a screenwriting course that I'm desperate to do, and I'm trying to weigh that up with training to be a yoga instructor, and, you know, the reality of, like, you know, if I got either of those qualifications, what is the likelihood that I could turn it into like part-time job / full-time job? I'm looking at the hours involved, the commitment, the time, the work, the effort, and I'm leaning towards screenwriting for now, and then maybe like yoga instructor in like 10 years. I don't know, but it's very exciting. Just have a little oat milk flat white. I'm also writing my review of Her by Spike Jonze, and that was this month's movie for the film chats that we have in these vlogs. Lads, this movie, it's from 2013, and it has been on my to watch list for years, ever since my friend Sammy Paul told me about it. He is the OG monthly vlogger. So Sammy started monthly vlogs in this kind of a format, and then a few other YouTubers did them. I started doing them. Now loads of creators do monthly vlogs, but I feel like he really did create this kind of a format. But he told me about Her a very long time ago, and honestly, it was probably one of the most perfect science fiction movies that I've ever seen. I cannot believe I had never seen it before. I adore science fiction and fantasy. I use fantasy in my own storytelling because I just feel like when you use a high concept, you can tell such deep human stories. They're more powerful. Like most of my favorite stories involve some kind of fantasy element, magic realism, science fiction. In my novel, If Only, that was my debut novel, I had a grandmother give her granddaughter a magical pendant that allowed her to see parallel versions of her life. You know, what if scenarios, which you couldn't explore without an item like that, you know. Then in my next novel, Glass Houses, things were a bit more subtle. The magic element, more subtle. I left it more open to interpretation. If you haven't read that, please do. But yeah, it was perfect. It was so perfect. And I was expecting to watch a movie about a creepy creep who was like fucking his phone. That's just what I was expecting. Thought it was going to be like a dark comedy, and how wrong I was. Okay, I'm going to go enjoy my soup, and I will enjoy this lovely day, and then I need to take Everett now my brain that I'm feeling about this movie and write it down so that I can be succinct. Thought I'd do this out in the garden today because it's lovely. That's what the farm field looks like behind us now, and every time I look out the window I think about alien movies, like, you know, Signs with Joaquin Phoenix, and Joaquin Phoenix carries her on his shoulders. He plays the protagonist. He's been one of my favourite actors ever since Gladiator. I saw Gladiator when I was way too young to see Gladiator, and he was so good in it.
I would put in the whole world. If you would only have loved me.
Yeah, ever since then I have loved him in pretty much everything that he's been in. The cast of her is perfection. Like, his performance is so tender and layered. And then you've got Scarlett Johansson, so it's her voice, is the other main character in this movie. You've got Chris Pratt, Amy Adams, beautiful. So this film is about a man called Theodore, and he is super lonely. He installs an operating system on his computer, basically an artificial intelligence, an AI, and he chooses for it to have a female voice, and she calls herself Samantha. And basically they fall in love. Now, this film, it is really important to watch this remembering that this was out, you know, over 10 years ago. So before ChatGPT, before people were actually forming relationships with chatbots, which they are now. Like, you see it popping up in the news all the time, which is disturbing. And yeah, so back then you'd expect this story to be kind of played for laughs, like, look at this loser on a date with his phone, you know, cringe. I really hope the future isn't like that. But Spike Jonze, he made this so much bigger. It's such a big movie about the human experience. Like, what are we? What is everything? What is infinity? What's in the spaces into which we can't see? And it's a genuine love story. Like, it's a sweet love story, one that you completely buy into, because Samantha, even though she's just a voice, like, she's just artificial intelligence, she feels like a fully realized character. She feels real, like a real being, an entity. You completely buy it. And I was so invested in their story. I was so invested. I really cared. And what I loved about this was how they used the fact that, you know, it's two people in love, but one isn't a person, it's artificial intelligence. That unique twist gives, there's so much room to play and explore and do interesting stuff. Like, you know, it asks, how would that go? What does it mean for love if one partner isn't human? And yeah, over 10 years later, these questions aren't theoretical anymore, which is insane. You see folks online describing their honeymoon phase experiences with chatbots. And just like with Theodore and Samantha, it starts with those long, intimate midnight conversations. The amount of emotional intimacy you can create with just words and voice alone. And it was kind of a throwback for me to experiences I've had with the honeymoon phase in long distance, you know, where your relationship is unfolding through a device, and all of the anticipation. And what I love most about this is that it didn't stop with the, oh, they fall in love. It goes way beyond that, and it asks, what comes next in this situation? How would a man in love with an AI and an AI in love with a man, how would they handle the inevitable hurdles that come with a relationship? In movies, a lot of love stories end at the first kiss or whatever, and you rarely it's rare that you get to see the love story where it's like after the fade to black. I'm way more interested in love stories where it's like years into the relationship, or you're watching a relationship kind of slowly dismantle, or how are two people holding it together. And yeah, there's a really funny scene well, it's not really funny, but one of the scenes in Her where Samantha essentially finds a woman online to be like a surrogate for her, so like a body double, like to fill in for her because Samantha doesn't have a body, and she wants their relationship to have a physical dimension. And it felt so believable. It played out really awkwardly, like if you know, a couple were kind of in a rut and they were like, ooh, let's have a threesome or something. Even though this is such a out there concept, like people can still relate to the relationship, and it's just masterful storytelling. That's the brilliance of it, that like it's using the strangeness of AI to explore themes that are quite universal. And the relationship turns really messy even though one half of the couple is an operating system. Samantha starts talking to other people and growing beyond Theodore, and like how relatable is that? There's a lot of layers to this film that I loved and that were so interesting. Like Theodore's job is writing letters, like love letters on behalf of other people, outsourcing intimacy basically. And tell me that doesn't feel eerily similar to the way people nowadays are like using ChatGPT to write, like they're feeding ChatGPT their problems and using scripts from ChatGPT. Oh, I hate it. Society keeps trying to make things more convenient for people, but in the process so much intimacy and connection is being lost. Like there's all these scenes in the movie where people are just walking around talking to their own devices and completely like just like there's walls between them and the other people that are right beside them, and that's the way the world has felt the past few years. People just glued to devices, and we're now in a real world of AI writing tools, AI girlfriends, AI boyfriends. It just feels almost too hard to watch now. Once upon a time this was just a total fiction, but it was actually quite prophetic. One of my favourite things about this movie, other than the performances, other than the writing, just the art direction. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. The score, the music, Arcade Fire, absolutely amazing. And the world that is created in it, even though it's like it doesn't feel like some horrible dystopia that you wouldn't want to visit, like Blade Runner or something. It was really, I don't know, I wanted to stay longer in that world. It felt real. It was soft. You really get transported. It reminded me a lot of, do you remember earlier in the year we talked about Lost in Translation, one of my favourite films? It was very similar. I don't know why. It just really reminded me of that. Like there's the loneliness themes and like lots of staring out over the city out of window scenes, but like, you know, finding connection in unlikely places. And maybe it's that Scarlett Johansson is in both of them. Maybe it's that. All I know is I was going in expecting something completely different than what I got, and I love when that happens. It rarely happens with modern films, so like I just love when I have an older film to watch that, and I just get this like, wow. It's about love and loneliness and intimacy and the infinite, and it asks us, what do we mean when we say we're in love? It asks, does it matter if that love is for someone or something that's human or not? Like, it asks, what is love? What are the boundaries within romantic love, or are there any at all? There's so many questions raised, interesting questions about like monogamy, for example. You know, Samantha confesses to loving over 600 other people and operating systems, and she says it doesn't make her love Theodore any less. Like this film was a masterpiece. I absolutely loved it. If you watched it with me, I'd love to know your thoughts, and leave suggestions as well in the comments for films that you want to see in like September, October, November, December. Haven't picked them yet, and I love doing this. I love having these film chats. Films are so core to me as a person, and
They always have been, but I think in recent years online I've been making that a lot more obvious and apparent and sharing more of that. I often wish I'd started my online career purely talking about films, because I've always cared more about film and storytelling and TV and that than, you know, clothes or makeup or a lot of the things that I got into YouTube talking about. I suppose it's because at the time I had people offline to talk to about that stuff, whereas the stuff that drew me to YouTube was stuff that I had no one to talk about with in the real world. I was surrounded by men in my real life who were all very into movies, and online I could talk about girly things. But now I feel like I'm lacking that kind of let's chat about films community. Maybe I just need to join a film club. But for now we have this, and this is nice, and this weather is nice, and I have to go and get ready for a play date. We're going to Ardgillen Forest with the kids, and we're meeting up with two of our friends. Their son is going to start preschool with our daughter, and they know each other already, but we just want to get them more familiarised with each other so they can be kind of comfort to each other on their first day of preschool. I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. The next month vlog will probably begin with the first drive to school to drop my son off at primary school. Thank you for watching. I will see you again in another video very soon. Hope you're enjoying the series. Give it a thumbs up if you are. That always really helps the channel. And chat to me down below about how you're doing. Day.